What's up, YouTube? Weeboy here. Welcome back to another video. Today is going to be a story about a fight back in my 10th grade year. So, let's just jump right into it. So, the whole day that day, it was perfectly fine, perfectly normal. I woke up, hopped on the bus, did the same old thing every day. I just went to school, did my thing. Try to keep to myself. Well, it all changed coming around to 7th and 8th period. So at the end of, 7th period, the bell rang to go to 8th period. So I got out of, I think I was in history class at the time. Went to my locker. And as I was going to my locker, I heard some people arguing. We're just going to give them some names here. We're going to call one Zach and the other one Connor. So I was getting to my locker, getting my English stuff out. And then I heard Connor yelling at Zach about his girlfriend. Saying, you shouldn't be talking to her. You shouldn't be doing this, stuff like that. And Zach looked at him and he's like, bro, that's my cousin. And it indeed was his cousin. I mean, they grew up together. But anyways, Zach just ended up leaving. He was like, yeah, you know what, fuck this. I ain't going to deal with it. Who cares, So Connor ends up walking away. And as they were walking away from each other, Connor turns around and he's like, yo, fuck you, And he goes around the corner, and I didn't see him anymore after that. But I actually had class with Zach, so he ended up meeting me in English class. And that's when all hell broke loose. So I sit down. We was in there for maybe 5 to 10 seconds. And assuming that Connor went around the corner and got his boy, they both came in there. His buddy was sitting there at the door, and Connor storms in, and he looks at Zach right in the face, and he's like, yeah, you really want to fucking do this? You really want to do that? Huh? It starts to square up, and Zach looks at him like he's just, he's like, yo, bro, you don't want to do this, all right, now's not the time, we're in class, and Connor, just doesn't care. He pulls his fist back and just decks him right in the face. So Zach, given that he just got hit in the face, he tries to defend himself and he starts swinging back. It got to, I don't know how many hands were thrown, but I know it got to the point to where Connor was laying on the ground getting kicked in the chest, and this dude was wearing steel-toed. Zach was. And it got to, I remember as he was getting kicked in the chest, Connor's buddy, he goes, my friend, and then starts charging Zach and completely just wipes him out. He just lays him on the ground. And Zach's buddy, he gets up from the back of the classroom and football charges this dude, picks him up and slings him up against the board. And these are big dudes, right? At the time, I'm just this little fuckhead kid, not knowing what the hell to do. I'm like, bro, what the hell's going on? But these dudes are throwing hands, and it got to the point to where they were picking up shit, throwing them at each other. And I remember I was standing up, getting a good view of this, sitting at the front of the class. And then I remember Zach's buddy, he picked Connor's friend up and slung him into the podium. And whenever he done that, the podium went and hit me. So I got a little mad, and I kind of picked up the podium and I threw it into the crowd. And I remember Connor's friend turning around and being like, what the fuck, who did that? Who threw that podium at me? What the fuck, But as he was trying to figure out what the hell was going on, he was getting hit in the fucking back of the head, in the face. And I was like, yo, this is getting too out of hand. I'm just going to, jump out of this room. And when the whole fight was going on, it lasted, probably 10, 15 minutes. And I remember trying to get out of the classroom, and everybody in the halls was just, right in the doorway. And I couldn't get out. So I had to, shove everybody out and try to get out and move everybody just so I can get out of the classroom. And as I got out, I was like, fuck this. I'm walking to the bathroom, who cares? Try to get away from everybody. And I see the school cop just full sprinting down the hall. And he ends up dropping his walkie-talkie. It was the school walkie-talkie. So he had two of them. There was one on his chest for like the police work that he was doing, and there was one on the side that was for the school and to get a hold of all the teachers and stuff. But he drops the school walkie-talkie down on the ground, and his other walkie is just sitting there like dangling off his wire, and he's tripping over it, trying to turn around, grab his old walkie-talkie, and it's all smashed and stuff. And he continues full sprint back to the room. At that point, I don't know exactly what happened, but I know 2 other teachers were running it behind him. And I just like, you know what? Out of my hands, I'm just going to go to the bathroom. So I sat in there for like 15 minutes. I'm not doing anything because, like, you know, I'm pretty much skipping class, and classes kind of had some issues at the time. But after there's like 15 minutes of me sitting in there, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just go back to class, see what's going up. And when I get back there, I thought I gave them enough time, but like they're not going at it, but the teachers and everything are like holding them back to the point to where they had to call in another school officer. And like it was an officer for a different school, but he ended up coming and like helping break up the fight and get them settled down and everything. I don't really know exactly what happened to them, but I know that Zach and his friend both got suspended for probably like 2 weeks, and ISS for maybe another 2 weeks. But I go back to class, and everything's starting to settle down. And at that point, the English teacher's like, well, I had everything planned out, but I feel like I'm just gonna, you know, let you guys do your thing. So she left the class and like went next door or something. I don't exactly know which class she went to, but I know it was like right around the corner. She came back and she had like popcorn, marshmallows, chocolate, pretzels, you know, the whole 9 yards. And then she turns on a movie for us to watch for the last like, I don't know, 25 minutes. And she's like, yeah, we're just going to chill out and, you know, relax after this, you know, event that happened. And she was going at it like it was like the end of the world kind of thing. She was definitely a good teacher, if you know what I mean. But yeah, that being said, this is the end of the story. If you liked the video, please give me a like. If you see yourself coming back here frequently, just subscribe, and I'll be back for more. Peace.